Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, fellow dregs to society. Welcome, all you rock dwellers out there. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Drader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. And joining me as my co-host is the patriot from the battle-born state, the Silver State of Nevada, my very dear friend Sharron Angle. Sharron, welcome back to Conservative Commandos.
Thanks, Rick. You know, it's always great to be here, especially at the beginning of the week when we get to see how crazy the liberals have gotten over the weekend, and it never ceases to be interesting. How's that? We got a soccer team going nuts. We got the census. They're going nuts over the census. It goes on and on. They're claiming Jesus is a Palestinian. What next? I mean, nothing is out of bounds. Nothing is non-political to them. Everything's out there and ready to discuss. And so I guess that's me. I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, we got some other news too. Apparently, Starbucks has had to make another apology.
Yep.
Starbucks has issued an apology after an employee asked a group of 6 police officers in Tempe, Arizona, to either leave the store or move out of the line of sight of a customer. The officer says a barista told them that the customer, quote, didn't feel safe with the police nearby. Now, I got to stop right there. First of all, Sharron, either this customer was a jerk, this customer was in this country illegally, or this customer was a fugitive from justice. The police should have asked to speak to that customer to find out why they feared being in the same store with the police. The barista said that the customer did not feel safe because of the police presence. The barista asked the officers to move out of the customer's line of sight. You know, Sharron, in 2018, there was another incident in Philadelphia, nearby Philadelphia. 2 black men were arrested at a Starbucks while they waited in the store without ordering. Do you remember that?
I do.
Do you remember that right after that incident? Well, the manager was fired, okay, over that incident. And all the Starbucks stores were shut down for a day while their employees went through sensitivity training. Well, Sharron, I'm going to be interested in following this story to see if, A, something is done with the manager or barista. That's such a fancy name for somebody who pours coffee. But I want to find out if something happens to the manager or the barista, and if once again Starbucks is going to shut down its chain for more sensitivity training. Well, maybe what they should do, Sharron, is they should ask the police department, A, to come in for free coffee to talk to their employees, to show those employees there, they are there to protect them. They are there if they need trouble. And I'll be honest with you, Sharron, if I went to a store, a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme or anywhere, and was there with 6 police officers, I personally would feel pretty safe. What about you?
Well, I would too. But of course, the real underlying problem here is that people have let their politics get in the way of their business. And, you know, if that's the way they want to play, I'm sure there's a bunch of us, and I've heard this, that people are calling for a boycott of Starbucks. You know, there are plenty of competitors out there making coffee. You don't have to drink it at Starbucks. And if they're going to treat America's finest like this, we might as well take our dollars somewhere else. And, you know, speaking of boycotts, This whole census thing, where now they're saying we're not going to ask about your citizenship. Well, maybe those of us who think they should boycott the census too. I mean, the whole point of having the census for these politicos is to make sure that they get representation so that they can once more draw those lines for us. And here we had a guest last week talking about gerrymandering. And I'm in one of those gerrymandered states, so I'm not really feeling very able to fill out the census myself. Why should I give them any help taking my representation away? So I don't know. It's kind of interesting, an interesting thought that more and more people are saying, wait a second, hold up. I don't think I need to patronize these places. I don't think I need to go along with government programs that are actually injuring me. I think that there is a place for civil disobedience. Martin Luther King showed us the way, peaceful resistance to things that are wrong in our society. And so I think we've talked about this before on Conservative Commandos, that we need to start talking with our dollars and doing some totally walkout agree. Stuff.
Well, one more point about the Starbucks thing. Personally, I'm disappointed by the 6 police officers who went in there for coffee. I would think police officers know that Starbucks, first of all, has bad, number 2, overpriced coffee. I'm sure they could find a lot better coffee anywhere else. The 7-Eleven, Dunkin' Donuts. I'm not sure that there's Wawa stores in Tempe, Arizona, but there's a lot better coffee out there than Starbucks. Well, here's discrimination in reverse, in a sense, Sharron. A biracial rapper pulled out of a Michigan music festival after she learned that, get this, white people would be charged twice the amount to attend than people of color. Tiny Jag, whose real name is Jillian Graham, was scheduled to perform at the Afrofuture Fest event in Detroit in August, but when she learned about the marketing inconsistency based on race, she quickly dropped out. Well, good for her. Good for her for dropping out of this event. But, whoa, where's the discrimination here, Sharron Engel? Where's the outrage that if you're not a person of color, we all are people of color, only our color is a little paler than some, but if you're a fair-skinned person like myself or even you're discriminated against and forced to charge twice the admission. Where's the outrage here, Sharron?
Well, it's like everything else, Rick. We're seeing this coming at us full tilt. We've been watching discrimination on this level toward white males in particular for a long time. I can remember before my husband retired, he had a discrimination lawsuit that he won because of this exact thing. He had a boss who decided, because she was a black woman, that white males didn't need to be working for her, and she was systematically trumping them out of the office. And 3 of them got together and said, wait a second, we're not going to put up with this. And they sued her in an equal opportunity lawsuit and won, because they could prove that she was discriminating against them because of their color and their gender. And so it's been going on for a long time. That was over 15 years ago now that case was settled. But I believe that we are going to see more and more of this as this division is fomented by the left. They are racially motivated. Everything about their agenda has some kind of racial overtones.
Or sexual.
Yes.
Or sexual, racial or sexual. I mean, there are 2 groups that they pander to. They pander to minorities. could also say they pander to women, and they pander to homosexuals. And anybody who disagrees with that, well, you're racist, homophobes. You're just the dregs of society. You're the deplorables. You're the rock dwellers out there.
Well, and it goes to the ridiculous, like
Yes.
this Linda Sarsauer who tweeted that Jesus was a Palestinian because he was born in Bethlehem and raised in Nazareth. Well, she's correct that at one point in the last 100 years, Bethlehem and Nazareth were both part of Palestine. But now they're Israeli. They were Israeli at the time of Jesus' birth. Jesus, as one guy pointed out, above the cross it said, Jesus Christ, King of the Jews. So,
right.
there's and she says, well, that's not mutually exclusive. You can be a Palestinian Jew. So, like I said, it's going to the ridiculous. But the real problem is that, as this Rabbi Cooper pointed out, for people who have no theological or historical rooting, the idea that Jesus was a Palestinian creates a new narrative for Palestinian history, which otherwise does not date back very far. If one can say that Jesus was Palestinian 2,000 years ago, then that means the Jews are occupying Palestinian land. So what they're doing is trying now to make a case that Jesus was a Palestinian, and therefore the whole world should press in on Israel to give back the land, right? It all becomes political at some point. So we say, this is stupid, but there is a method behind their madness here, and it is, as you say, racially driven in this case.
Well, Sharron, we got to take a break because we got three great guests who are joining us once again here on Conservative Commandos. And after this break, we'll tell you who they are and what the topics of conversation will be. But you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. By the way, today's show, like all our shows, is being brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Sharron and I will be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And for rebroadcasts of our show, please check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You could also like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Since we're back on Facebook, it was just a misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding that caused Facebook to ban the Conservative Commandos radio show. Got that one straightened out. Sharron, we have 3 great guests joining us once again.
Yes, we do. Our first guest is Matt Margolis, who is the author of The Scandalous Presidency of Barack Obama and the best-selling The Worst President in History, The Legacy of Barack Obama. He is also a contributor for PJ Media. His new book, Trumping Obama, How President Trump Saved Us from Barack Obama's Legacy, will be published on July 30th. And he lives with his family on a vineyard near Buffalo, New York. And we've asked him to come on and talk about an article he wrote. Snopes admits Obama built cages for immigrant children. So he's going to debunk this whole idea that the problems on the border started with Trump. And then another article that he wrote, Trumping Obama, How President Trump Saved Us from Barack Obama's Legacy. So those will be interesting articles to discuss with Matt Margolis. Our second guest is, almost lost
How about
it here.
that, Tim Bryce?
Adam. Yeah.
Oh, Adam, that's right.
Yeah. Adam Andrzjewski. He has a name that is not phonetic. we have to be careful when we spell that name. Andrzjewski, who is the CEO and founder of OpenTheBooks.com, the world's largest private database of government spending. Adam is senior contributor at Forbes Opinion and frequent radio and TV opinion commentator. And Adam's going to come on and talk about an article. Trump's leaner White House 2019 payroll has already saved taxpayers, get this, Rick, $20 million. So he's cutting back just in the White House, and this isn't even the executive branch. This is just White House overspending. He has cut back $20 million. So it will be fun to see. I'm sure,
Sharron, there are people out there, especially on the left, who say, 20 million, what's 20 million when we're $20 trillion in debt? Well, Sharron, 20 trillion here, 20 million here, 20 million there. Soon we're talking about some real big money.
That's right. Well, it's always been big money in my household. So
that kind of money's never been in our household.
Yeah. Well,
big or little.
And the only time I saw it was when I was running against Terry Reid. We actually raised $28 million, and it's unbelievable seeing that kind of money roll in. And I know that that's the way that President Trump feels. You know, he's gearing up now for his next campaign, and he knows it's going to take millions. The left is already raising money. We know that Pete Buttigieg has raised $25 million in one evening, and you know, it just never stops. This money.
Well, that's a good thing about having 25 candidates out there on the left. I'm sure they're all raising money, Sharron. They're all raising it from their liberal donors. There's only going to be one Democrat nominee. So let all their base spend all their on all their money on the other 24. Let's waste that money. Hey, we already know who our candidate is.
That's right. Well, our last guest is Tim Bryce, who is a freelance writer residing in Tampa Bay and Florida, an avid writer and speaker discussing everything from business and management to politics and morality to systems and technology in our ever-changing world. In addition to his columns and blog entitled The Bryce is Right, which is read by thousands of people worldwide, Tim has been published in a wide range of publications, from the Washington Times to the Huffington Post, and his new book, Senior Moments, is now available. We've asked Tim to come on and talk about an article that he wrote, What Does It Mean to Be a Citizen of the United States?
Yeah, I thought that'd be very appropriate.
Yeah, but it should go without even having the discussion, but it doesn't anymore, does it, Rick?
Right, it doesn't. You know, coming off of Independence Day, our 4th of July, and also I know something you want to talk about, the USA Women's, and it sticks in my throat to say the USA Women's soccer team won the World Cup, and it'd be great to talk with Tim Bryce on that. Well, you know, Sharron, I really consider myself a patriot. I love our country. I love everything American. I love everything USA, but I can't say I took any pleasure. Didn't take any pleasure at all in the U.S. women. And again, that sticks in my throat, winning the World Cup. I don't think they represented us at all.
Well, certainly they didn't represent us well. And I think that most people that heard their remarks were disgusted. I can't say anything else. You want your women to be ladies, and certainly their language was not ladylike. She says, we're not going to the effing White House, this Megan Rapinoe. So her language was not ladylike, and then just the sentiment is so unpatriotic, and to have that happen over the 4th of July weekend is disgusting to the max. I liked what Ann Coulter had to say, though. She said we would have been much happier if we could have heard from the team that beat them. And this team is an interesting team. In preparation for 2 upcoming friendlies against Russia, the U.S. women's national team played the FC Dallas U15 Boys Academy on Sunday and fell 5-2, according to Dallas. This friendly. Wow. So here are boys who are not 15 years old yet. They're under 15. That's what U15 means. And they beat our women's team 5-2. So I had to laugh when Ann Coulter brought that up. She says, I'd rather have seen these boys. Obviously, they must have a pretty crack team, and they probably salute the flag, too. So
they probably do.
We would have been much happier to watch them.
Now this women's team is coming out there, and they're saying that they're being discriminated against because they're not making as much money as the men's World Cup team, and their record is better than the men's World Cup team. Well, the problem with their math, Sharron, is that men's soccer makes a lot more money than women's soccer. Sharron, this should have been a very proud moment for the United States of America, for the Women's World Cup team, supposedly representing the United States, winning the World Cup on 4th of July weekend. It should have been a terrific event, but because of their vulgarity, their nastiness, their meanness, their ugliness, it's really turned out to be a sour event.
Well, the fun thing is that they assume an invitation to the White House. Now, President Trump has been known to disinvite athletes.
He disinvited the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's right.
After they won the Super Bowl. I wouldn't Sharon, if I was Trump, I wouldn't even make the invitation.
Well,
I
they've
would
already
ignore
refused
them
it, so-
totally.
Yeah.
Totally ignore them. That's the best way to handle this situation. Why put himself in a situation where they could refuse his offer with this vulgarity? Hey, Sharon, we got to take a break and running a little long on this segment, but you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. She's Sharon Angle. We're coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. We're going to be talking with Matt Margolis. He's from PJ Media. He's written a couple articles. One of them is a fact checker has now admitted that it was Obama. It was Barack Obama who built those cages for the immigrant children. Don't go away. We will be right back with our first guest.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharon Angle. Yes, that's Sharon Angle. And yours truly, Rick Trader. And I want to give a shout out to the good people who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and seen as part of the A1 television network in places like San Francisco, San Jose, Sacramento, and other places in Northern California. And with that, Sharon, our first guest is with us. Please make him feel welcome.
Well, it's a privilege to introduce Matt Margolis, who's the author of The Scandalous Presidency of Barack Obama and the best-selling The Worst President in History, The Legacy of Barack Obama. He is also a contributor to PJ Media. His new book, Trumping Obama, How President Trump Saved Us from Barack Obama's Legacy, will be published on July 30th. And he lives with his family on a vineyard near Buffalo, New York. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show, Matt.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's our pleasure. We have a couple of articles here that you've written. Snopes admits Obama built cages for immigrant children. That's interesting. We all kind of thought that Snopes was a reliable source for debunking fake news, but they seem to be almost conspiratorial with the fake news, don't they, Matt?
It seems like it. Snopes has proven many, many times that when it comes to anything political, they just can't be trusted. Just recently this week, they fact-checked the whole thing about the Betsy Ross flag being at Obama's inauguration, and they said it was kind of a mixed thing because it means something different now because since Trump was elected and all the people, and it's just like, I expected them to do something like that with regard to the fact that the Obama administration built the cages that, we're arguing about right now, but they clearly couldn't find a way to weasel out of that one.
Well, and in your article, you say the left-wing bias of popular fact-checking sites like Snopes and PolitiFact have been well documented for years. So how can we get that word out? I mean, what should we tell our friends? Because they say, well, Snopes says that's not true.
Well, I just advise people to just check different sources because, quite honestly, if we can't trust places like that, you got to find, read conservative websites that dig into this stuff because, as a conservative, I think it's important for us to see what both sides are saying. And, the left doesn't ever want to do that. They dismiss our opinion because, we're all Nazis and racists and fascists and all that stuff. But it's important for both sides to be looked at and so that we can understand what they're thinking and to have a better idea of what's actually happening because, it's true. Both sides have their own point of view. We should be able to make up our own minds about what's happening based on what both sides are presenting.
But when a group says they're not biased, that they're coming from an apolitical position, just reporting the facts, and then you catch them in these obvious bias, I call it lying. But we've got Snopes and PolitiFact and even Fact Checked. Who do we go to for the truth?
I don't know. I believe Daily Caller has a fact-checking site. There are conservative-leaning fact-check sites that are out there. They don't get the kind of publicity that these other sites get because things like Facebook legitimizes the left-wing fact-checkers by having them integrated into their site to review articles and determine whether or not they're fake news. And but it's just something that as conservatives on the internet and social media have to be aware of that there's a big movement to silence the conservative viewpoint and to essentially silence balance in the debate. And we have to work extra hard to make sure that we bring balance to the debate. That's why I wrote this article to point out that Snopes doesn't usually have a good record when it comes to political based issues, but this one they couldn't do anything. They couldn't say anything to discount it. So it was worth bringing to the attention of my readers, so that they know that when a liberal argues with them, oh, this didn't happen under Obama. Obama had nothing to do with it. Well, yeah, it did happen, and he is responsible. So and I've gotten hate mail from people about that article saying, oh, Snopes didn't say that. It's right there on the page.
Well, it's hard to deny, isn't it, Matt? You have become an expert on Obama, and so you would know if they're telling the truth or not. You've written now 3 books about Obama and the truth about Obama. So that's one of the reasons we have you on is because you're an expert there, and you will tell us the truth. So even though it took Snopes a while to get to the truth, or they hated getting to the truth, at least you fact-checked their fact-check, even though they were, this time, being very truthful and unbiased.
Yeah, I'll give them credit when they actually do something right. So, they did something right for a change. And, I mean, I'll give them credit for that, and that's fine. But I mean, that doesn't mean that they're suddenly a legitimately unbiased organization. But it's worth pointing out when they can't kind of lie their way out of an issue.
Well, and here's the next one. You wrote in another article, not just about Snopes, but the next article is the Trump economy is working for everyone. Now, that's something they've been denying too. We hear it all the time in the mainstream that somehow look out, there's going to be a crash. This can't go on forever, and it's not helping everyone. But in your article, you show that actually it is.
Yeah, when you listen to the Democrats that are running for president, like during the debate, you would think that there were bread lines everywhere. You would think that people are just, you would just think that this was the Great Depression all over again. But it's not. And, what I find interesting about it is that, the Democrats have gone from this shift from, oh, no, it's not, this is the Obama economy, that's why it's doing so well, to, oh, no, it's really bad. Trump is making it hard for minorities and women and everybody. But the truth of the matter is that the economy is doing well, and Democrats are trying to talk it down because, well, what argument do you have to say, vote for me when the economy is doing well? It's very hard to make that case to vote for the Democrats when the economy is hot, and the economy now is hot.
Well, it looks like a huge cover-up to me on the left. They are expecting people not to really be readers, not to go and look at books like the ones you've written, to even read articles. They're just expecting to be able to spoon feed these folks their agenda and have it be believable. And the real cover-up is the Obama administration's 8 years of truly, they put us into a depression, didn't they, Matt?
Yes, I mean, when you look at all the facts, when you look at the way wages were flat, the way the GDP was just going nowhere. I mean, Obama's the first president not to have had a year of 3% GDP growth. I mean, things were really bad, and it took the election of Donald Trump to change things around. I mean, Obama oversaw the worst economic recovery in history. And when there's the only thing that you can look at to compare, his to others is what policies did he implement to try and get us out of it. And we know the big one was his stimulus, which was a hugely expensive program, which wasted a whole bunch of money and did absolutely nothing. That was supposed to keep our unemployment rate under 8%, but it went up to nearly 10. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. It was a huge waste of money. We got into a huge amount of debt. Obama had more debt than any other president in history. And, the Obama years are nothing to be looking back on nostalgically. I mean, I don't know why Joe Biden thinks he can run on that Obama nostalgia, because the Obama years were really bad for a lot of people.
Well, and devastating for America. I can't imagine what would happen if we had 8 more years of that. But it does look like a cover-up to me to protect Obama's legacy. Do you see that from the left, that they really are trying to protect him in all of this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Obama was a very symbolic figure for the left. He was, as the first black president, it was not enough to just be the first black president. He has to be a successful president to be seen that way in history. And so from even before Obama left office, we've been seeing all kinds of talking points being put out there, that Obama had no scandals, that, Obama saved the economy, all these things that are just completely not true. And this is why I write the books that I write. I hate writing about Barack Obama, but I feel like I have to, because someone's got to tell this story so that people understand what really happened. Because I don't want the history books to be saying that he was this great president. I have a 5-year-old son. I don't know what they're going to be teaching about Barack Obama when he's old enough to be learning about it. But I worry that it's going to be, he was such a great president. I don't want kids to be learning the wrong stuff, because if we don't learn the truth about history, we're doomed to repeat a lot of bad things, and I don't want to have another Barack Obama.
No, none of us do. I can't agree with you more. We do have to go to a break. We are talking with our guest, Matt Margolis, who has exposed the real facts behind Snopes. the fact checkers. And we're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on TV on the AUN TV network in Northern California. We'll be right back. I'm Sharron Angle. He's Rick Trader. And with our guest, Matt Margolis.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes. Now, people say, why didn't you report it to the authorities? Well, they were the ones doing it.
The integrity of one man, one vote doesn't apply at the Texas state legislature. There is no way to know if your representatives are voting for themselves.
Department, a Republican, reaches back to vote for Democrat Oliveira. Democrat Matt Reynolds votes for Republican England.
2 out of 3 voters nationwide believe that voter fraud is a serious problem in the U.S. today.
The process is rigged.
Both sides of the aisle are guilty.
Florida now has to tell the Department of Justice whether the state will comply with DOJ's demand to stop purging thousands of people from its voter rolls.
We have the sloppiest election system of any industrialized democracy.
Philadelphia flagged 50,000 duplicate registrations, so just think how many more slipped through.
It's almost impossible to detect. How do you get caught? You only get caught if you confess.
Election corruption is deeply embedded in America. Quote, election fraud is a crime that usually pays, unquote, writes Tracy Campbell in his book, Deliver the Vote, A History of Election Fraud, an American political tradition from 1742 to 2004. In 1742, the first Prime Minister of Britain in the American colonies, Robert Walpole, was forced to resign.
We have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out as much as if you're prevented from voting.
If this is going to be fixed, it's going to have to be a citizen effort. It comes down to, it's the same old question, if not now, when? If not us, then who?
This is huge. This is about the democracy and the principles of the United States of America. People say, but why you? Why you? Why not? And if it starts with a fireman, if it starts with a sanitation worker, if it starts with a teacher or a nurse or a caretaker of the elderly, then so be it. It's got to start somewhere. But it's time we come together and fix this problem once and for all.
There is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow that you could even rig America's elections.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
Allegations of voter fraud, the claims raising questions about the
Commerce Secretary Ron Brown and 32 others were on a military plane that crashed today in a violent storm. There are no known survivors at this time.
The U.S. Army was funded by the evil entity.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
The process is rigged.
So it's incredibly important now that we draw a line and say, not on our watch.
And thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. She's Sharron Angle, and our guest this segment is Matt Margolis. He's a contributor for PJ Media. He's also the author of a new book he's got coming out. Matt, let's see that book, Trumping Obama, How President Trump Saved Us from Barack Obama's Legacy. Matt, thank you for holding through that break. We really do appreciate your time I want to go back to the article that you and Sharron were referring to, your article that's appearing in PJ Media, that this fact checker has admitted that Obama actually built the cages for immigrant children. What we've heard all this crying and whining coming from people like AOC about these poor children being locked up in cages. I'll make the assertion those cages are probably better living than what they were living in Central South America or Mexico, but that's another story. But Matt, did people buy that lie that it's all Donald Trump's fault? He built the cages?
Oh, I think people absolutely believe that it's a brand new phenomenon that just happened under Trump. I hear from people all the time on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, that are basically accusing me of spreading lies. They don't want to believe that this happened under Obama. It's for them, it's all about Donald Trump, and yet we see this happen with so many different things that it's getting kind of exhausting, because I mean personally, I don't understand why they refuse to admit the facts, and it shouldn't be this difficult. I mean, we live in the information age. This stuff is out there for people to read and to understand. And all we hear from the left is, oh, well, I don't believe that because I don't want to believe it. And, that doesn't do anybody any good. I think people should be open to hearing the facts. And, if it makes their team look bad, well, so what?
Well, in fact, Matt, they were rather proud. They were rather proud of these cages that were built down in Texas. They had to be proud after all. DHS Secretary under Obama, Jet Johnson, and Executive Associate Director of ICE, Thomas Horton, are actually in pictures smiling and viewing them.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, these immigrants are getting housed, they're getting fed. I mean, how many people are living on the streets right now in this country that are citizens that don't have a roof over their head, that don't get fed by the government? I mean, and we're doing all this because people keep coming here because they know that there are people in our government that want to give them everything as soon as they cross the border. Meanwhile, our own people are being ignored.
Mm-hmm. Now let's get into your second article. The Trump economy is working for everyone, but Democrats are in denial. Here we go again, Matt and Sharron. We've got the spin doctors on the left making it sound so gloomy and doomy. But Matt, you have some great figures in your article, and you and Sharron were talking about them. The jobless rate for blacks is 6.2%, which is only 2.9% higher than for whites, versus a 4.6% difference before the start of the 2008 recession. Unemployment has fallen twice as much among blacks as whites since December 2016. Now, what does that date, December 2016, mean? Oh, that's right. Barack Obama was still the president at the time. But Matt Margolis, is this making an impact where it should, and that should be in the black and Hispanic communities?
Well, I'd like to believe that these communities are feeling the benefits of the Trump economy, but I think that Democrats are doing everything they can to make them believe that it's not working for them, because they need their votes. If minority groups support Trump because they realize that Trump is doing better for them than any Democrat would, or like Barack Obama did for them, then they're going to see this very important voting bloc of theirs being lost to Donald Trump, and they can't win without having that solid support.
Matt Margolis, what about the Wall Street Journal? Do you think they're very friendly to Donald Trump?
I think they're friendly.
Generally, by and large.
Places.
What's that?
I think they're friendlier than other places, but
right.
I mean, it seems like there aren't many outlets that are truly friendly to Trump anymore.
Well, I mention that because, again, in your article, you write the Wall Street Journal has noted that deregulations has benefited the mining and manufacturing industries, and per capita incomes, quote, have grown at significantly faster rates under President Trump than it did under Barack Obama in places like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nevada, Wisconsin, all the places that Donald Trump campaigned in and said, trust me, I will bring the jobs back.
Right, and these are also important swing states that he needs to win. And Democrats should be worried that he's doing well for places that he needs to get votes from, because, you know, I mean, they think they have this in the bag, just like they did in 2016. And they had a rude awakening back then. And I think there's a good chance that they're going to have a rude awakening again.
Matt Margolis, you got a new book coming out, Trumping Obama, How President Trump Saved Us from Barack Obama's Legacy. Matt, hold that book up. Let's let our audience get a good look at it. All right, there it is. And you're right. Thanks to Donald Trump, the dangerous legacy of Barack Obama has been erased. Tell us about that erasure.
Well, you know, Donald Trump said quite a bit on the campaign trail that, you know, that Obama was, you know, one of the worst presidents we've ever had, and did a lot of bad for the country, and promised to reverse a lot of his policies. And, you know, I write in the book that, you know, I started out as a Trump skeptic. You know, I wasn't sure that he was truly the conservative.
Me too.
You know, I wasn't sure if I could trust him. But, you know, I'd become a believer, and I felt that this book was necessary to document all the things that he did, specifically with regard to reversing Obama era policies. Mostly because I felt that there's still a lot of never Trump conservatives that when you talk to them, they sound like liberals who hate Trump and don't want to give him credit for anything. And these are people who claim to be conservative, but they still dismiss everything that Trump does. And I felt that this book was important because the story of how he's actually really been a great champion for conservative causes needs to be told, because they're not getting the message. They're still talking about him like he's the worst thing that ever happened. But one thing that I've come to realize about Trump is, as much as I don't always like his style, he's the fighter that the conservative movement needed at the time that he ran for president. And I'm glad that he's there. I'm glad he's the one fighting. I don't think there's any other Republican that would fight the way he has. And
he's a different kind of president, Matt. He's a different kind of leader. And I like you, I was very skeptical about Donald Trump. You know, when they had the list of 17 candidates, Republican candidates, 4 years ago, as far as preference, got to be honest with you, Donald Trump was near the bottom.
Yeah.
But he has shown me that what I liked about him, or like about him, is he is trying to do exactly what he campaigned on. And I find that to be very different among politicians. Matt Margolis, in your research for this book and your other books, and by the way, Matt, please hold up that book again. Trumping Obama, How President Trump Has Saved Us from Barack Obama's Legacy. What do you think the biggest save has been, Matt Margolis? The most effective, the most meaningful change that Trump has made to Obama's legacy?
You know, I don't know if there's any one thing in particular, but I mean, I think that when you look at the totality of them, I think it's quite clear that you know, Obama is going to become a footnote of history. I mean, he's dismantled Obamacare. He's I mean, his immigration policies, Obama's immigration policies have been reversed. Lots of different things with various things related to justice and foreign policy. Look at the economy and the deregulation that's happened. I mean, Obama was a regulation machine, and Trump just put the brakes on that and started reversing it. And look at the way the economy's been going because of that. I mean, it's done so well. You know, I think that you know, that's the kind of thing that's going to have a long-lasting impact, because especially as long as he stays in office and is able to keep it up. You know, I mean, we could see quite a few years of solid prosperity because of him. But I mean, I don't want to say that there's any one thing, because I think that there's such a wide range of things that he's done that I personally appreciate, that I don't want to single anything out.
All right, fair enough. Matt Margolis. Again, please, Matt, hold up that book, Trumping Obama, How President Trump Saved Us from Barack Obama's Legacy. Matt Margolis, please tell our audience how they can follow what you do, read your articles, and pick up your books.
Well, I write for PJ Media almost every day, and so you can check me out there, and you can get my books pretty much anywhere where books are sold, but, just find me on Amazon or your favorite online retailer and just look up my name. Or for this book specifically, you can go to trumpingobama.com and click any of the retailers that you like.
All right. Matt Margolis, again, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
Thank you.
And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to talk about Trump's leaner White House 2019 payroll has already saved taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Once again, thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. And check out our website, CCRShow.com. That's CCRShow.com. You'll find rebroadcasts of our radio show and our TV show. Also, like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And with that, Sharron, our next guest is with us once again, as you always do. Please make him feel welcome.
Well, it's a real honor to introduce Adam Andrzjewski, who is the CEO and founder of OpenTheBooks.com, the world's largest private database of government spending. Adam is a senior contributor at Ford's Opinion and frequent radio and TV opinion commentator. Adam, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, hey, it's great to be on the program. Thank you very much for your interest in our work.
Well, we're really interested in an article that you've written. Trump's leaner White House 2019 payroll has already saved taxpayers $20 million. Now, this is just the White House, isn't it? And Adam, it doesn't have anything to do with the executive branch of government. We're just talking about what goes on in the White House.
Right. So our article, every single year on June 30th, the White House has to disclose their payroll by virtue of statute to Congress. And so they post their payroll, and right away our auditors are in on it. We download it, we break it open, we load the data at openthebooks.com, and then we give it oversight. So they release the payroll at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and by 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we were online at Forbes with our oversight. And here's what we found. We found that the president is doing more with less. He has saved over the course of the past 3 years, the first 3 years of his administration, he saved taxpayers over $20 million.
Well, and that's in payroll costs. When he says you're fired, he really means it, doesn't he?
So here's how we did it. Here's the methodology. We looked at 10 years of White House payroll. So back through the Obama years into the first 2.5 years of the Trump administration, and we've compared Trump versus Obama, their White House payrolls. And so in the first year, the president was down about 97 employees at the White House versus Barack Obama in his first year. In the second year, Trump was down about 94. Trump actually cut 3 employees from year 1 to year 2, so he further honed his payroll. This year, he's hired back. His administration's maturing. He's increased his payroll count by 44 employees. So over the course of the first 3 years versus the same payroll that Barack Obama was running, it's $19.8 million of savings to the taxpayer.
Well, when we look at that, and that's just something that he was able to personally do, we then have to look at kind of a John DeStaya, I guess, over at Congress, because they just don't seem to be able to find any place to cut, do they? I mean, the president, he just goes into the White House and says, we don't need all these guys. And what is going on with our government that the people that should be cutting aren't, and our president is doing all he can?
Well, the president sends great budgets over to Congress. This year, the president, he's declaring war on waste. He wants to cut 5% of discretionary spending. He wants to cut taxpayer abuse and fraud and waste and corruption. Look, we at openthebooks.com, in the Wall Street Journal, starting last fall, we wrote open letters to the president urging him to embrace the transparency revolution and declare war on waste. And the examples of Congress and the federal agencies wasting taxpayer dollars, they're just extraordinary. For example, NASA, they spent $1 million to prepare the nation's religions for the discovery of extraterrestrial life.
Okay. I'm sure.
So, Health and Human Services, they spent $1.4 million in California on a sex ed program for prostitutes who could probably teach the class. Cornell University. Cornell is an Ivy League institution. And over $1 million went for a study at Cornell to determine where it hurts the most to be stung by a bee.
Oh,
I have the answer.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, Adam.
The corruption.
Adam and Sharron, I have the answer for that. Maybe it was worth $1 million, but it didn't take $1 million to find that out.
Well, the answer is
Okay,
actually the
that.
nostril.
Yeah. You would think, huh?
I've read the study. It's incredible. So, here's the president. He's waging war on waste. But where are the Republicans in Congress? Where are the Democrats in Congress standing up for the little guy, standing up for the taxpayer to rein in all this misspending? And they're few and far between.
And that's exactly what we in the heartland are asking. Here we're watching our president, and it's astonishing how many people it takes to run the White House. Now, I know that's his residence, and that's kind of where things get done. But talk about this. Barack Obama had 476 employees, and now President Trump has trimmed that down to 418. So that's where that 20 million is, isn't it, in those 60 employees?
It's in the head count, right. And the president had been running a payroll at the White House over the course of the last 2 years, around 375 employees. This year, he has added to the head count. As you said, it's about 418 employees, and it's down sharply from the Obama administration. We found no evidence of special purpose czars like Barack Obama employed at the White House. The president gifts his salary and donates his salary back to the federal agencies. So under Article 2 of the Constitution, he must take a salary. That salary is $400,000, and he donates it back to the federal agencies. So the taxpayers get a savings there. His family is also following the president's lead. With Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, they accept no salary for their service to this country. We also found that the FLOTUS payroll, the First Lady of the United States, in the Trump administration, Melania's payroll is 12, a head count of 12, where Mrs. Obama had a payroll count of 24, double what Melania is running.
It's astounding to me. It just proves that they hired their friends. They brought into the White House folks that they felt like they owed favors to, and they hired their friends. And now President Trump has gone through and said, no, we don't need your friends here. We need to have a lean government.
And President Trump, over the course of the past year, he basically held his key people, his advisory staff. The key people are still with him, although there is a headcount turnover of about a third year over year amongst the core advisors. Those people are still with him. It's like, our economy is roaring, and Larry Kudlow is still the economic advisor, and John Bolton. And, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she's going to move on. But at the end of this year, she was still there. And Melania's press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, she's going to move up to press secretary for Donald Trump. And Steve Miller is still writing the speeches. So the core people in the Trump administration, they have grown up with this administration.
Well, now talk to us a little bit about the First Lady. I didn't realize she was on the payroll. We didn't elect her. I
don't think the First Lady's on the payroll. But Melania does have a staff of 12 versus a staff at the same point in time with Michelle Obama at 24.
And what did these staffers do? I guess I just found that kind of incredible that the First Lady Michelle Obama needed 24 people paid on her staff.
Well, it was all kinds of different helpers. It was assistants, it's schedulers, it's social coordinators. It's well beyond any policy to run the First Lady's agenda. It was all kinds of special purpose assistants on that staff. She caught a lot of heat for it, and rightly so.
Well, and talk to us a little bit now. You told us about some of those 418 that are in the White House now. and about the 476 that Obama had with his czars. And of course, we gave him a lot of heat about that too, because we thought they were unnecessary at the time. Unelected folks who really were taking over government as we saw it. Is there a lot of that? You know, we hear a lot about the deep state. Is the deep state residing in the White House?
Well, not in the Trump administration. I think they're taking all of that on. And look, President Trump's payroll count at the White House is reflective of his philosophy toward governance. And right away, we know his philosophy because he issued the executive order right when he became president of a hiring freeze on the federal bureaucracy. And he's led by example. As a matter of fact, as we've shown, his headcounts are down sharply from Barack Obama, and this is saving taxpayer money. And I tell you, one agency head that has adopted this hiring freeze, and her payroll over at the Department of Education, Betsy DeVos, her payroll headcount is down 20% versus the peak years under Barack Obama at the Department of Education. It's a headcount, her staff is down 800 employees, and we extrapolate that saves the American taxpayer every single year $80 million a year just over at the Department of Education.
So when you get to looking at the executive branch of government, there's a huge savings that's going on. We need to go to a break. We're talking here with Adam Andrzjewski. Adam Andrzjewski, who is the CEO and founder of Open the Books. We've been talking about Trump's leaner White House. 2019 payroll has already saved taxpayers $20 million. We'll be right back after this break. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. Rick Trader and I will be right back with our guest, Adam Andrzjewski, right after this break.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Engel and Rick Trader. And feel it's appropriate to give a shout outs to our listeners on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C. Hope they're listening to us there. And seen on the A1 television network in places like San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, and areas north. Our guest this segment is Adam Andrzjewski. He's a CEO and founder of OpenTheBooks.com. Adam, thank you for holding through that break. Adam, before we go further, tell our audience a little bit about Open the Books.
So our mission at OpenTheBooks.com is to capture and post online every dime taxed and spent at every level of government across the entire country. That's federal, state, and even your local units.
You'll never be out of a job, Adam. I mean, that's got to be a huge, huge undertaking.
It's daunting, but we've had a lot of success. We've captured 5 billion individual government expenditures, including virtually every single public employee's salary and pension record from every level of government across the whole country. So in terms of 2017 and 2018 government payrolls, we have virtually every single public employee, 22 million public employee salary records, right down where if you're watching the program, we probably have, even at your municipal, school district, township, county level, your city level, we probably have your public employees' names, position titles, and salary records.
22 million, Adam. That figure blows my mind. I'm not great at math, but I did a little quick math. And I'm not sure about this figure, but let's say the entire workforce of the country is 200 million.
I think it's probably less. It's probably 150 million.
Oh, yeah. That makes it worse.
That's right. One out of every 7 jobs are a government job.
Adam, when and where did it get so crazy? I'm thinking back. I mean, for instance, Abraham Lincoln fighting his Civil War. What do you have, like 1 secretary or 2 secretaries? I mean, where did this go so crazy, Adam?
Abraham Lincoln was probably running a very lean White House payroll, that's for sure. Look, I think the whole concept of public service is under attack. I mean, the true, definition of public service is to take care of people who actually have real needs and can't take care of themselves. Nowadays, we take care of everybody. I mean, Everybody has a real need, right? And so the role of government, the size, scope, and power of government is out of control.
Adam, let's say that I would run for office, which I'm not, but I would run on a platform of we're going to actually do less with less. Don't expect the government to do more with less anymore, but we're going to do less with less. Would that be a winning plank in my platform, or do people want this huge government?
No, I think it's a political winner. I mean, all you have to do is look at Mitch Daniels in Indiana and how he governed. He governed on a specific philosophy that was he took every single decision and he said, will this add money to the citizens of Indiana to their wallet, or will it take money away from them? And that's how he made all the decisions. He was reelected. Even my mother-in-law, who tends to vote center left, she voted for Mitch Daniels twice and loved his governance.
Looking at your statistics, and you have some terrific statistics in your article, the one that really jumped out at me, and you and Sharron were talking about, Melania Trump, 12 staffers, down from Michelle Obama's 24. I know you mentioned with Sharron what the staffers for a first lady does, but my God, 24 staffers? You figure, what did they work, 35 hours a week? That's almost 1,000 hours a week, Adam. And again, I'm not great at math, and I'm just using spitball figures here. 1,000 hours a week in the First Lady's office. I mean, my gosh, what did they do?
Well, they implemented her agenda, right? And the Obama administration was all about the agenda. And look, that's the.
What was that? Eating more vegetables or something? Eating more carrot sticks?
If we kind of widen this to the entire federal bureaucracy, at openthebooks.com, we gave oversight to the swamp that the president inherited, the federal payroll in 2016. And here's what we found. We found that there are 406,000 federal bureaucrats that make over $100,000 plus. 30,000 of those federal bureaucrats out-earned every governor of the 50 states, and 90,000 of them in the state where they're employed in their federal agency, they out-earned their local state governor. So, the average pay of a federal bureaucrat now in the 20 largest agencies is over $100,000. So there are, and it's beyond just the salaries. It's also the paid time off, where an average federal bureaucrat, after just 3 years of employment, gets 43 days of paid time off, which is 8.5 weeks. And this
what happened to the 2 hours? What happened to the 2 weeks vacation in July, Adam? I mean, it used to be, and Sharron and I have discussed this before here on Conservative Commanders. It used to be government employees did not make as much as the private sector employees, but you always justified it by saying, well, they get better benefits, so they get paid now. Now they get paid more than everybody else, and they still have better benefits than everybody else.
Well, that's very true, and the private sector doesn't have, pensions. Real pension plans went away a long time ago in the private sector because they were unsustainable. But in government, there is a war on math. And these pensions, at every level, whether it's local, state, or federal, are becoming unsustainable to regular tax-paying citizens. But at the federal level, and this drives people crazy, you and I, we can't even see the retirement annuity payouts to a retired federal bureaucrat or member of Congress, U.S. Senator. That payout is exempt. It's considered private information. And it is not allowable under the Freedom of Information Act. And so we have legislation in there to open up the pensions. You and I are paying for those. We're guaranteeing those with our tax dollars, and we deserve to see it.
Well, Adam, we ought to find a group kind of maybe like Open the Books. Maybe they'll sue the government and get this open.
Well, and that's why we need a legislative change. People have tried to sue the federal government to get access to those pensions. And it is now case precedent that the federal courts have ruled that those pension payouts, even to members of Congress that are retired, that is exempt from disclosure. It's considered private information, so we do need to change the law. We have legislation. Jody Heiss in the House, he's out of Georgia. He's
Good
got
friend of the
legislation
show, by the way.
Open up those pensions.
Good friend of the show. I've had him on several times.
Outstanding.
Adam Andrzjewski, and want to make sure I get that right. We want to thank you for joining us here on the Conservative Commanders radio show. Please tell our audience how they could read your articles, keep up with what you do, and find out more about openthebooks.com.
Well, if everyone wants to learn more about Donald Trump's White House payroll, just come to openthebooks.com, look at the top of the news feed, and you'll find all the information that you're looking for.
Andrew, I love having you on, but you frustrate me, buddy. When I hear these things, when I hear these crazy things, it makes me think about the founding fathers. They were part-time volunteers that created a country. I'd love to see our government get back to a volunteer basis. Wouldn't you, Adam?
Absolutely. I mean, those guys risked it all.
Yes.
The 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence, lots of them lost their lives. They had their families killed or imprisoned. They had their homes burnt. I mean, that was real commitment, and we do need to get back to that firm resolve of individual freedom and liberty.
Adam Andrzjewski, give us that website again. Encourage all our listeners and viewers to go to it.
It's openthebooks.com. And you can see, not only all your local public employee salaries up there, but you can look across the country and see who by name works for what unit of government, in which position, and how much they made over the course of the last 2 or 3 years.
Wow. Adam, thank you again for joining us. Always great talking with you. Take care and God bless.
Great to be on the program. God bless.
And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to have another friend of the show, Tim Bryce, join us. He's part of the Bryce is Right, and he's going to talk about what does it mean to be a citizen of the United States. Don't go away. We will be right back with our next guest, Tim Bryce.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes. Now, people say, why didn't you report it to the authorities? Well, they were the ones doing it.
The integrity of one man, one vote doesn't apply at the Texas state legislature. There is no way to know if your representatives are voting for themselves.
Department, a Republican, reaches back to vote for Democrat Oliveira. Democrat Matt Reynolds votes for Republican England.
2 out of 3 voters nationwide believe that voter fraud is a serious problem in the U.S. today.
The process is rigged.
Both sides of the aisle are guilty.
Florida now has to tell the Department of Justice whether the state will comply with DOJ's demand to stop purging thousands of people from its voter rolls.
We have the sloppiest election system of any industrialized democracy.
Philadelphia flagged 50,000 duplicate registrations, so just think how many more slipped through.
It's almost impossible to detect.
How do you get caught? You only get caught if you confess.
Election corruption is deeply embedded in America. Quote, election fraud is a crime that usually pays, unquote, writes Tracy Campbell in his book, Deliver the Vote, A History of Election Fraud, an American political tradition from 1742 to 2004. In 1742, the first Prime Minister of Britain in the American colonies, Robert Walpole, was forced to resign.
We have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out as much as if you're prevented from voting.
If this is going to be fixed, it's going to have to be a citizen effort. It comes down to, it's the same old question, if not now, when? If not us, then who?
This is huge. This is about the democracy and the principles of the United States of America. People say, but why you? Why you? Why not? And if it starts with a fireman, if it starts with a sanitation worker, if it starts with a teacher or a nurse or a caretaker of the elderly, then so be it. It's got to start somewhere. But it's time we come together and fix this problem once and for all.
There is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow that you could even rig America's elections.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
Serious allegations of voter fraud, the claims raising questions about the
Commerce Secretary Ron Brown and 32 others were on a military plane that crashed today in a violent storm. There are no known survivors at this time.
The U.S. Army was funded by the evil entity.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
The process is rigged.
People die and fall for the right it's too brutal.
So it's incredibly important now that we draw a line and say, not on our watch.
Here the hallmark of the Conservative Commandos radio show is our terrific guests. So if you have somebody you'd like us to interview, maybe an article you read, or if you maybe yourself would like to be interviewed here on the Conservative Commandos radio show, we're always looking for great guests. Please give me a call, send an email. Send an email to rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com. I know it's long, but it should be easy. rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com. And with that, Sharron, we do have our next guest with us. The honor of the introduction is all yours.
It is an honor for me to introduce Tim Bryce, who is a freelance writer residing in Tampa Bay, Florida. An avid writer and speaker discussing everything from business and management to politics and morality to systems and technology in our ever-changing world. In addition to his columns and blog entitled The Bryce is Right, which is read by thousands of people worldwide, Tim has been published in a wide range of publications from the Washington Times to the Huffington Post. And now Tim's new book, Senior Moments, is available in printed form as well as ebook form. Tim, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Sharron, Rick, it's always a pleasure to be with you guys. It's always a lot of fun.
Well, it's our pleasure, and especially today after the July 4th weekend. You've written an article, What Does It Mean to Be a United States Citizen? And your opening line is, have you ever watched a naturalization ceremony? I have, and it is touching. It is very exciting for a citizen to watch that, because people who are being naturalized are so eager to become citizens, and they are so proud of their accomplishment because they've had to jump through a few hoops to get into this country. And you can tell just by the smiles on their faces, it's been worth every moment of it.
Yeah, I was looking to write something for the 4th of July, and I wasn't too sure what to do, and I stumbled upon a naturalization ceremony out in Seattle. And they went through the normal processes, the normal oath, and then they got up one by one and talked about why did they want to become an American, and a lot of them came to tears. And it wasn't for, let's say, a free Obama phone or free health care or public education. No, it was the basic things that we understand: freedom in the land of opportunity. And, which is really, what my grandparents did after World War I. They came here for those type of reasons. And so I wrote this whole thing on up, and I wish more young people would watch some of these services. I mean, it is very, very moving. It also occurred to me at that time, too, that, these people who go through, like you said, a strenuous process to become citizens, they have to renounce your homeland. You're renouncing, you say, I'm not going to, obey by this and whatever. And they go through this, and they said, why? Because, again, freedom and so on. And they're joining for the right reasons, what a lot of our ancestors came here for. It's not the same reasons as the illegals that are trying to come on in. They just basically want a job, or they want to get free health care, or they want to get free education or so on. But interesting, I wrote this up, and I had a lot of places pick it up, but the liberal press did not want it at all. My Tampa Bay Times, I gave them a first shot at it. Absolutely not interested in that. Even my normal News Talk Florida wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And I just don't understand why people don't understand why people want to go through this process and so on. And it has to deal a lot with patriotism, but they don't understand the difference between the old country and, I guess, the new country. This is still, what are we, 243 years old? I can't remember what it is. And this is still the most interesting experiment in the world.
It is. I have a friend who is here on a green card, and the first thing he did was learn to speak American English. And he is now he was taking out garbage. That was his job. He got a first-rate job working at nights, taking out garbage. And now he learned that he could drive a bus. So he went down, got himself trained, and now he's doing passenger driving the bus, and it's changed his whole life just to be able to get that job. But that's what his whole focus was on, is first I've got to speak English, then I've got to get a job that pays well so that I can support my family. And that's what I see when I see these immigrants coming in the right way. They're looking for that American dream, and they know exactly how to get it.
Yeah, my Scottish grandfather came over here after World War I. He was served in the Black Watch, if you're familiar with that. But anyway, came on over here and ended up in Buffalo, New York, working for a company called Wickwire. Wickwire makes the metal mesh that you see going poured into sidewalks, all of the lines and so on. Well, they require special machines. And it's not a glamorous job at all, but, he was an operator for this type of thing. Well, every once in a while, these machines would break down. And he didn't want to wait for somebody, to come and fix it, because he wouldn't get paid if he wasn't working. So he learned how to fix all these things. And people in the plant started turning to him to do this. Union didn't like it, by the way. Union said, no, we're supposed to have other people take care of this type of stuff. But no, he wanted to work. And he rose up in the company simply from the bottom going on up. And it was something he was very proud about. They were both Roosevelt Democrats. They were so proud of the country. And in the neighborhood they grew up with, there wasn't two homes with the same nationality. It was a real melting pot.
Well, and I think that's what most of us can boast of. I know when they started asking that question on medical forms and government forms, anything you fill out for the bank, they want to know what your race is. And I've started answering human, because, and then they said, well, but what's your nationality? And I said, well, I'm not quite sure. 23andMe has me almost on every continent. I have ancestors from every continent. So I couldn't even give you that. As an American, each one of us can almost say beyond a shadow of a doubt that we don't know. We really don't know, except we're, as my great-grandmother used to say, we're just Americans. We're just Americans. And I guess that's what is so disgusting about these latest developments. Here we have a soccer team that should be proud to be Americans, but instead they assume they're going to get an invitation to the White House, and they're rejecting it already. What do you think about that, Tim Bryce?
I think that's absolutely preposterous. They have gotten such bad press. The whole story has been buried. I only found out about it by accident today. Someone mentioned me, hey, what do you think about the soccer team winning all of this thing? And I said, well, I really couldn't care less. I mean, they have turned me off so much. I couldn't care less. And then they had a Fox News report over in France, and they were reporting on what happened. And they're in a bar, and some of these guys were real uber liberals, and they started using a lot of profanity on there, Trump, 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 like this. And I'm going, what is the point of this? Aren't you happy? Aren't you celebrating that they're going on? No, they were using it as a political thing. Why have we allowed politics into sports? I don't get it. Now, I do remember the 1968 Olympics. Was it Alvarez and Tommy Carlos, their Black Panther thing? I remember that. And I also remember Muhammad Ali sitting out the Dodge the draft and all that kind of stuff. But, none of this really should apply to sports at all. And no, I wouldn't let any of them near the White House for that matter. It shouldn't be like that. But, I've had enough of it. This is just sheer nonsense, what we're seeing from the Democrats. And you notice on the debate, the Democrat debate, the first one, which, oh God, that was bad. There wasn't one flag on the stage. Yeah, I didn't understand that at all. I mean, what's wrong with it? And then they bring up the latest thing about Betsy Ross's flag, with Nike and so on, and this is all racism. Racism? They're trying to redefine everything out there, and I think these guys have lost their minds, plain and simple. I've got no respect for them now whatsoever. I think they are dangerous.
Well, I have to say that on the 4th of July, we watched a video with David Barton. He's one of the greatest historians, I think, of our time here in the United States. And he has gone to the great lengths to collect the manuscripts, the originals of all the founding documents, along with the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence. And he points out that there's 56 words in the Declaration to be signed by those 56 men. But one of the things he said, he opened it up and he says, you know what? The Bible says all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. There's not one of us that's perfect. Don't be asking the founding fathers to be perfect men. But beyond that, they were able, with God's guidance and use of their own Bibles, to found a document for this country that has withstood, as you said, 243 years of history, when the average government document in the world only stands up for 17 years. So, when I hear people getting outraged over the founders or outraged over the flag, it's absurd, don't you think, Tim?
Well, they're against capitalism. They're against Christianity, and they're against the Constitution. And that has served us well for a number of years. Think about it. Think where this country has come from. We started off with nothing. We overcame an adversary to win our independence. Miraculous that we did anything like this. And now to turn out to be now one of the leaders, the leader of the free world, that's amazing. And people saying, well, that's not good. We're being evil, we're dominating, and so on like that. I don't know. Who does everybody turn to when they got trouble? Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? No, you're going to call the United States.
That's right.
I just don't get it.
Well, I know our own Rick Manning did a terrific job of explaining what the 4th of July is all about. So I will point our listeners back to that show. We once in a while rebroadcast shows, and Rick just did a terrific job on the 4th for us explaining this. I don't see how the U.S. women's soccer team financially makes it after this. But I'll let Rick go into that on the other side with you. We have to go to a break right now. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. We'll be right back with our guest, Tim Bryce, talking about citizenship. My co-host is Rick Trader, and I'm Sharron Engel.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it?
You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And you are watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. It's up to you to figure out who is who. And our guest this segment is Tim Bryce. He's a freelance writer and author. And Tim, do you have a copy of your book there that you can hold up? Senior Moments.
I wish I did, but I don't, unfortunately. I just happened to give one, sell one the other day and got rid of it. Hey, by the way, before I forget, I got a great little story for you for the 4th of July. We participate in what's called the Safety Harbor 4th of July Parade. We've been doing this for a few years. As Republicans, we were towards the back of the lane going on in. The Democrats went by us, in front of us, and they're starting to give us real evil looks, like, there's those guys. They're the nuts, like that. And I go, hey, it's the loyal opposition, and we all started applauding, we wished them well. Hey, good luck, keep going like this. And they're looking at us like, what do you mean by that? They honestly, I thought we had ulterior motives.
Oh, my God.
I thought it was hilarious myself. I thought it was funny.
Well, Tim, how did you, other than the parade, how did you spend the 4th of July?
Actually, I went and saw some friends in the hospital, to be honest with you.
Bless you for that.
I had to get on out and see them. I'll tell you, by the end of the parade and everything else, and everywhere else I went, my feet were dead. I was tired at the end. So, I was looking for Chinese food, as a matter of fact, that night, not hot dogs.
Oh, no, you got to have hot dogs, hamburgers, and fried chicken. Well, I spent it much the same way Sharron did. And Sharron, I'd really like to see that video, that David Barton video. But I enjoy spending the holiday like that. And when I say the holiday like that, I also add like Memorial Day into that I'd like to watch documentaries. I found a terrific documentary that I saw back in 1976. It was a terrific special put out by PBS. It was the Addams Chronicles, about the Addams family, not Boris and the goofy one, but the John Addams family. Told the story of 4 generations of the Addams family. Is terrific series, and I was glad to find the first 2 episodes on YouTube. And that's how I like to spend it. And Sharron, as I said, I'm heartened to hear that you spent it the same way. But I also saw a couple of documentaries on Stalin, on Joseph Stalin.
Fascinating stuff, yeah.
And during his time in prison, Joseph Stalin led books by Vladimir Lenin. And and they talked about what he learned out of those books and the things that that they were talking about, what they learned out of those books. I'm thinking, was this book written by Vladimir Lenin or Saul Alinsky? A person
same
who, a person who's a person that's been in the news at least since the days of Barack Obama or even going back to Hillary Clinton. And when you see and hear things about the U.S. soccer team, the women's, and Tim, in my opinion, and Sharron and I were talking about, this should have been a great day in America.
That's right.
A really great day in America to have the U.S. women's soccer team win the World Cup on Independence Day weekend, the 4th of July weekend. It should have been such a wonderful day, but they sure did mar it up. They sure did make it look ugly and seem dirty. That instead of being proud to represent the United States, and you and Sharron have talked about what these people say, especially the captain of this team. And it seems to me that Tim and Sharron, people aren't, when you talk about identifying as Americans or identifying as, they're identifying themselves by their sexuality. In other words, instead of being proud of being an American or proud of being a soccer team, the best teams in the world, what is defining their life is by their sexuality and what they like to do with their sexual organs, and how they're trying to replace the thousands of years of moral teachings, education, and wisdom that have come down to us from our forefathers, from our founding fathers, from our religious leaders, by what they like to do with their private parts. It's disgusting, Tim and Sharron.
I know, but let's flip it over too. Let's consider Trump's speech on the 4th of July.
Thank you for changing the subject.
No, it's related to the subject. It's just taking the reverse view of it. I watched the speech. I listened to what Mr. Trump said, and hey, I thought it was a nice speech. Then to have the flyovers by all the jets and so on. I'm a patriotic guy. I love parades and all. I love all that kind of stuff, and my goodness, I didn't see anything wrong with it. Well, you turn on the television and you listen to MSNBC or CNN and, some of these other people, and they thought, they would portray it as devil worshippers are out there, and that Mr. Trump is, bleeding the place. I'm going, what in the world are you talking about? Now, we all know statistically Republicans are more patriotic than Democrats. That is a fact. That's been a fact.
Why?
For a long time.
Has anyone ever been able to figure that one out? Why?
A sense of patriotism. That we believe in the Constitution. We believe in, capitalism. We believe in the free enterprise system. All those basic things out there. We're also Christians, and you have empathy for others. Contrary to what the left says about us, we do have a lot of empathy. Who's the first ones to make a donation to help out people? When we had Hurricane Katrina come on up here to Louisiana, and the hurricane we had last year, hey, it was a lot of Republicans went on up there to help bail them out, right away. A lot of church groups out there that were there and stayed up in tents and everything to help out. It was quite an ambitious thing. And that's why I still don't understand. They're still talking about Puerto Rico, and I don't understand that. How can that be after, 2-3 years now, that we've got all of these problems going on in Puerto Rico? Well, I can only blame Puerto Rico for a lot of it because this is Democratic administration that's going on, and they're both at the governor's level and the mayor over there. I mean, yeah, we'll be happy to give you supplies, but, if you think we're going to rebuild everything for you, no, that's not going to happen that way. Mm-hmm. We'll get all the basic utilities, everything in place, but hey, you guys, you got to step up to the place. Remember, Puerto Rico was right on the verge of bankruptcy before the hurricane happened. Probably the best thing that ever happened to that place was to have the hurricane come through there.
Well, it added the insurance money, the federal money, added a lot to their economy. Hey, Tim, we got to run, but we always appreciate you dropping by. And thank you for bringing that friend of yours over your right shoulder. You know, he's looking at us like he wants to make sure you're saying the right things, which you are. Tim Bryce, the Bryce is right. Tim, please tell our audience how they could follow what you do and what you say.
Just look me up anywhere on the internet, Tim Bryce, BRYCE, or timbryce.com. And the Bryce is Right is always out there. And I talk more than just politics. I talk about management, all kinds of things, as Sharron indicated at the beginning of the segment. But, you know, you're going to find something interesting there, you know, and you'll find me in various papers around the country as well. So, but I really appreciate it. As always, guys, it's always fun to have you. Sharron, you look great. So thanks again for having me on.
All right. Well, thank you, Tim. Thank you so much. Take care and God bless. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. She's Sharron Angle. I'm Rick Trader. Don't go away. We will be back with more right after this break.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Well, Sharron, that just about wraps it up for today. As usual, it's always a great honor and pleasure doing this show with us. Please tell our audience how they could keep up with what you're doing when you're not here on Conservative Commandos.
Well, I'm at SharronAngle.com. SharronAngle.com. And I want to thank our great guests today. I want to thank Matt Margolis, who's the author of The Scandalous Presidency of Barack Obama, and he's got his new book out, How President Trump Saved Us from the Barack Obama Legacy, Trumping Obama. We also want to thank our guest, Adam Andrzjewski, who is the CEO of OpenTheBooks.com, and he told us how the president has been saving us millions of dollars. And finally, our last guest was Tim Bryce.
And that's millions of dollars just in his own office,
That's
just in
right.
the White House.
Just in the White House, that's right. And Tim Bryce was our last guest. He's a freelance writer out of Tampa Bay, Florida. And he has his new book out as well, Senior Moments. But our subject today was citizenship in the greatest, as you say, in the greatest nation in the world. So I want to thank our guests for being here with us today.
Indeed, indeed. But for right now, we are out of time. We got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.